To exercise with Exos. Today I have a theme for us. So it's been a while since we had a theme, and since it's been nice and warm and sunny here, we're spelling out sunny today. So we're gonna do that 3 times through. We're gonna do 45, 15. And I'm gonna go ahead real quick with demos and then we'll get into it. A lot of more lower body cardio focus today. But we don't need any equipment and we don't really need that much space. We will be slightly moving side to side, but you can kind of do it in a smaller space. So starting with our S. So spelling out sunny. The S here, we're going to do 1.5 squats. So we're going to have our feet hip width apart. So the 1.5, it's been a while since we've done these, but we're coming all the way down into a full squat, halfway up, all the way down, all the way back up. So it's one full squat and then halfway and all the way back up. So that's our S. For the U, we're going to do duck unders. So this one, we're going to be moving side to side ever so slightly. But what we're going to do, we're starting on one side, we're stepping out, we're ducking like we're ducking under a rope and coming back up, and then to the other side and back up. So we're getting our lateral movement here. We're definitely going to feel that in our inner and outer quads there. And then for the first N, we're going to do narrow squats. So feet are going to be closer than hip width. I feel like the lighting in here is not that great, even though it's sunny outside. We're going to have our feet a little bit closer than hip width here, coming down into our squat and back up. So normally we're here, feet hip width apart. Feet are closer, coming down and back up. So that's our first N. And then for the second N, we're going to do, I know it doesn't start with an N, the sound we're going to go with. We're going to do high knees. I wanted to do a little bit more cardio focus here. So having one knee up, we're switching, using our arms as well. And then if that's not your thing today, you can always just do a march instead, making sure we're getting our knees up nice and high, keeping our core engaged. And then lastly, we're going to do a bent over Y. So feet hip width apart, and bringing our arms up in our nice Y fashion. You can always make that a little bit more challenging by using like a miniband or something and pushing your arms out like a Y as you go overhead. So that is our full circuit for today. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the world's greatest stretch. Let me see if I can do this a little better. Okay. So world's greatest stretch, coming to the top of our space. We're going to go ahead and release our fingers, grabbing onto one of our knees, pulling towards our chest. And we're going to exhale, step back, reverse lunge. Hands are going to come down on the inside of our front foot. Our back leg is going to stay nice and straight here. We're going to do a nice big deep inhale. And to exhale, rotating up towards the ceiling, gazing past our hand. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, plant our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer and push our hips up into our hamstring stretch. And on our next exhale, bring your feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. Awesome. All right, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So interlacing our fingers, grabbing onto our other knee, pulling towards our chest. And we're going to exhale, step back, reverse lunge. Hands coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg stays nice and straight. We're going to do a nice big inhale. And exhale, opening up towards the ceiling, thumb facing behind us, looking past our hand. And we're going to exhale, put our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer and push our hips up into our hamstring stretch. Nice big deep belly breath here. And we're exhaling, bring our feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. Awesome. All right. Next thing we're going to do here, a little bit different than what we normally do, but we're going to do a few deep squats to stands here, really opening up our hips and our legs and our hamstrings. So standing with our feet hip width apart, they can be a little bit wider, pointing your toes out if you need to. We're going to go ahead, push our hips back, grabbing onto our toes, so kind of like a forward folding and a nice stretch through our hamstrings. We're going to go ahead, inhale, bring our hips down towards the ground, Again, you can point your toes out a little bit if that feels good. And exhale, stand back up. So we're gonna do that 2 more times here, coming down. Breathing into our belly, going down as low as we can. Exhaling back up. And last one here, coming down. And back up. And then we're gonna go ahead and stand all the way up, and we're ready to rock and roll. So starting off, we have 1.5 squats, and we're doing 45-15 for the first at least 2 rounds. We might increase that on the last round just to push ourselves as we finish strong. I'll call that audible when we get there. But we got 45-15, 1.5 squats our first. 3, 2, 1, and go. Timer's going. Feet hip width apart. They can be a little bit wider if you need to. We're coming all the way down, knees past our second toe, halfway up, all the way down, all the way back up. So we want to stay within that bottom half of our squat as we come back up. So all the way, halfway, all the way back down, and all the way back down. So this is going to help us kind of work a little bit more on our isometric a little bit, just because we are coming halfway. Exhaling as we come up, pushing through our whole foot, heel big to little toe. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have duck unders. So we're stepping out like we're ducking under a rope here. 3, 2, 1. So we're going to step out. We don't have to step out super far. It's not like we have to do a super wide squat here. Like if that, for me, it's going to put a lot of pressure on my hip joint. Not having that today. So you can kind of base it off of how you feel, but we're just ducking ever so slightly. I think it's more about the depth of our squat, but also being able to shift our weight. So by doing this, we're going to help strengthen our legs, our joints, which is going to help us with our side-to-side movement, because life is not lived front to back. It's going to help strengthen everything for us, pushing off the inside part of our foot. 3, 2, 1. All right, now we have more squats. Narrow squats are next. Today's really squat day. It's sunny squat day. All right, narrow squats. 3, 2, 1. So normal squats, feet are hip width, narrow. They're a little bit closer. They're not fully touching, but they're underneath our body, not directly underneath our hips. Words, what are they? Not sure. But everything else is going to look the same. So our chest is staying up, going down as low as we can. Knees are coming forward. The inside part of my knee, when I squat down, is still over my second toe. So everything is the same. With the narrow stance, we are going to feel it more in our quads than we would in our glutes for even the 1.5 squats here. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have high knees for our second end. Again, if the high knee thing, I don't think my neighbors downstairs is going to be too happy with me, so I'm going to march instead. 3, 2, 1. So whether or not we're doing high knees, if we're doing high knees, it is more of a switch here. What we don't want to be doing this. We want to stay nice and tall through our torso. It should look just like the march, just a little bit faster. I would say it's a mix of a march and a skip. We want to kind of hammer down at the elbow here, nice and tall. Core is zipped up. We're driving up, breaking that plane of glass we have at our hips. Great job. Really punch the ground away. Punch, punch. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last up, bent over Y's. So I'm actually going to grab this mini band, but you don't have to have a mini band. I just thought of it, so I'm going to do that to help strengthen my shoulders, but we want our thumbs up into our Y. 3, 2, 1. Really coming nice and slow. We want to really focus on using our shoulders. It's pretty intense actually with the mini band. But we're making our Y. Our back is nice and flat from our low back, so butt to belly button. We're sinking into our hips here. All the way up. Thumbs are up. We want to really use our shoulders. So you really should feel this in the backs of our shoulders here. Great job. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, that got my shoulders on fire. So if you really want to challenge yourself, grab that mini band. Round 1 is done. 2 to go. Starting at the top with our first squat. 3, 2, 1. So we got 1.5 squats here. So I don't know why I was doing my narrow stance. Going all the way down, halfway up, all the way down, all the way back up. So exhaling as we push the ground away. We're going to feel this one more in our glutes than we did with the other one, but all the way down. Great job. Now these ones can be a little tougher because our time under tension is longer because we are doing more squats. So it is going to be a little bit more challenging, which is why I put these in here because it's been a while since we've done them. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right. Next up, we have duck unders. So like we have a bar or a rope here, side to side going under. 3, 2, 1. So as I said last time, it's less about the length of our stride and more about the depth of our squat going under. So if we have a smaller stride, but we can get all the way under said rope, pushing through our heel big to little toe still. We are going to push a little bit more off of the inside of our foot in the direction we're moving in, which is in turn going to help our lateral movement. Job. 3, 2, 1. That's definitely one we can speed up in the last round. Now that we've done it twice. Okay. First N, narrow squat. 3, 2, 1. So feet, normal squat, narrow squat. So a little bit closer. Coming down. Knees are still coming forward. We're driving through our heel big toe, little toe. Great job. Chest is staying up. Butt to belly button here. Our core zipped up. We want to bring our core down and together. I do also think we will have a little bit of time left at the end. So we will do at least 1 minute of core work before we do our cool down. So we can 3, 2, 1. So we can still get our regular workout in. So next up we have our high knees or marches, whatever feel better for you today. 3, 2, 1. So generally we do 6 movements. Sunny only have 5 letters. So we're only doing 5 movements today. So we will have a little bit of time at the end. So we're going to do some dead bug holds and some single leg lowering at the end at the same timing format that we did for the rest of the circuit. So we'll do 45-15 for that. So we will be on the ground. So we have these, we have our bent over Ys. We're going to go one more time, and then we're going to go ahead and do our core work. And now I can always use more core work, and it's good for our pillar strength. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last up, bent over Ys. I'm going to leave my mini band there. My shoulders are already sore from yesterday's workout. 3, 2, 1. So pushing our hips back like we're closing a door. We really want to sink into our hips. If we're starting to feel it, in our low back, squat a little bit further down. As we exhale to lift our arms up with our shoulders, we want to bring our core together, so zip that core up. Whoops, that was more of an eye. Thumbs are up. We're starting here, coming up, so we should feel it really a little bit in the front, but mainly right in the back. Not as much as we do with the T's, but still feeling it there. 3, 2, 1. All right. 3, 2 down, 1 to go, not 3 down. I can count sometimes. All right. 1.5 squats. 3, 2, 1. So feet are hip width apart. You can turn your toes out as always if that feels good for you, but we do want to try and get our toes Z pointed forward. If you do notice that as you move, I know the more squats I do, the more my right foot starts to turn out. And that's because that's my tight, really extra tight slash tendonitis hip. So when your toes do point out, it can be a site of tight hips and or hip flexors. So that's going to be where releasing your hip flexors and strengthening them can really come in handy. 3, 2, 1. All right, done with those. Next up, we have our duck unders. So let's go ahead. Let's speed it up a little bit more this time since it's our last round. 3, 2, 1. So we're stepping out. Again, it doesn't have to be super far out, but again, it is based on the depth. So it really should look exactly like our regular squat. We're just shifting our weight and then standing up. We don't want to shift and stand at the same time. I'm going to step, duck, shift, stand. That kind of, the way I described that reminded me of in dodgeball, whatever the 5 Ds are. But anyways, I digress. So we're step, duck, transfer, step. 3, 2, 1. All right, all these squats, man, are making my hip tight. Okay, next up, narrow squats. So feet are gonna be a little bit closer than hip width. 3, 2, 1. Like keeping our core engaged. Driving through our whole foot. Coming down as low as we can. Again, we are going to feel this one more in our quads than we would with regular squats. So I should say our regular stance squat, not just regular squat. We're going to do this. We're going to do our high knees, our bends over Ys, and then we're going to go straight to the ground during that 15 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, 2 more movements here. Some water there. All right, high knees. 3, 2, 1. Just getting our knees up. Keeping our torso nice and tall. Keeping our core zipped. I do a really bad job at moving my arms too much. We just want to move at the elbow. Great job. Almost there. We got our bent over Ys. Now we're going to do some dead bug holds and single leg lowering. And we're going to do some figure fours so we can open up our hips and our hamstrings and our low back. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last part of our sunny circuit. Then we're going to our core. All right, we're getting ready. Bent over Ys. 3, 2, 1. Using our shoulders. Keeping our core zipped up. When we do our dead bug holds, it will kind of help us with that core work. I know it doesn't help as much doing it after our full circuit, but at the same time, it's going to help us train to keep our core engaged during movements like this. That's why I do things like dead bugs and single leg lowering, because it will directly translate into what we do here, and that will also help outside of these sessions, which is ultimately my end goal. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to lay on the ground on our backs. We're getting ready for a dead bug hold. So we're just going to hold the dead bug here. So on our backs, on the ground. 3, 2, 1. So low backs on the ground. Knees are above the hips. Hands are up above our hands. Sorry, hands are above our shoulders. If we need to grab weights, or if you'd like to grab weights to make it a little bit more challenging, feel free. Otherwise, we're just going to hang here. Make sure our knees are above our hips, not any closer. That takes our core out of it. Focus on the breath. So each time we exhale, we want to bring each side of our six pack down and together like we're zipping it up. So if you breathe through a straw, your ribs are coming down and together. Our core is coming down and together. That's going to focus on our engagement and activation. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right, last movement here. We're going to do some single leg lowering. So both our legs are going to be towards the ceiling. We're going to lower one leg at a time. 3, 2, 1. So lowering one leg down as low as we can without our low back coming off the ground, and without using our hips to bring our leg back up. So we really want to try. Exhale if you act like you're zipping your core up as we lift our leg up. If we're finding that we're feeling it just in your hips, go ahead back to your dead bug position with your legs. Gently bring one heel down to the ground, and then exhale, bring it back up. So if you're feeling the single leg lowering in your hips, feel free to switch to the other one. I'm actually already feeling it in my hips too, and I'm using my core. 3, 2, 1. And that is going to be it for our circuit today. So go ahead, grab a sip of water if you need it. And we're going to go ahead and stay on the ground. So grab some water. We're going to cool down with our figure 4. So figure 4. One foot stays on the ground. We're going to take our opposite ankle over our knee. And you can press down on your leg if that feels good. Go ahead and stay there. Or we can go ahead and interlace our fingers and grab either in the middle of our hamstring or in front of our shin and pull our knee towards our chest. Inhaling in through our nose into our bellies. And exhaling, thawing our attention. Really let the body fully relax with each exhale. If we make our exhales longer than our inhales, it's going to help our heart rate calm down, go into our rest and digest from our fight or flight. We're going to do one more breath here. Yeah, we can go ahead and gently bring both our feet back to the ground. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to take our other ankle, crossing it over our knee. And if that tension feels good, go ahead and stay there. If we need a little extra tension, we're going to go ahead and interlace our fingers, grabbing either behind, in the middle of our hamstring, or in front of our shin. And we're going to pull our knee towards our chest. Nice big inhales in through our nose, into our bellies. And exhaling, allowing our attention, letting our body sink further into the ground. And we're gonna go ahead and do one more breath here. And as we finish our exhale, we can gently bring both our feet to the ground and feel free to stay on the ground and stretch out whatever else you would like. Or you can return to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. But that is going to be it for today's class. So a little bit short and sweet, but we made it through. We got a nice theme in here because it is nice and sunny. So hopefully you can get outside today for some nice sun and maybe a walk. But thank you.